when you talk about Tupac and the night he gets shot and killed, there is just insanity around that whole situation. And the fact that he would approach, what's the guy in the Merino jersey?
Orlando Anderson.
He's the guy that goes to fight Orlando Anderson. He's the meal ticket, the guy who everybody should be protecting, but they let him go in there. Suge and all those guys. What did you talk to 650 people for this book? I'm sure a lot of them were around this event, or some of them were. What kind of response or evidence did you uncover around that nutty night?
Well, there's 8,000 conspiracies about what happened to Tupac. Was it Biggie? Was it Puffy? Was it Suge? Who was involved? Was it the FBI? To me, it's actually not that complicated. I know I'll catch heat for this, and that's totally fair. Basically, they're there for the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon fight. It's a quick fight. Tyson actually wrote the entrance song for Mike Tyson that night. So he walked into a Tupac song. Fight ends. Tupac's hyped up. He's high. He's been drinking. He's totally, all in. And they're in the lobby of the MGM Grand. It's Tupac and a bunch of death row guys. And he's next to a guy named Trayvon Lane. And Trayvon Lane recently had gotten in a fight at a Foot Locker with a bunch of Compton Crips, Southside Compton Crips, including this guy, Orlando Anderson. And he sees in the lobby Orlando Anderson, and he's wearing a damn Merino jersey. And Trayvon Lane says to Tupac, "Yo, that's the guy who stole my freaking chain." And I'm using freaking instead of the real words there. And Tupac goes, "Which one?" And he goes, "Right there, that guy right there in the Merino jersey." Tupac walks up to him. He goes, "You from the South?" And he turns and he punches him. And then everyone jumps in. All the death row guys jump in. And they beat the crap out of Orlando Anderson. Now, later on that night, Tupac, they go to Suge's club, 662 in Vegas, and then they're driving around. And Orlando Anderson and a bunch of other guys, including Keefe D, his uncle, were looking for Tupac just driving around. And they see him hanging out of Suge's car, kind of hollering at women. And Orlando Anderson's like, "Yo, there's Pac right there. There he is right there." And they pull up next to him at the corner of Flamingo and Colville, shoots him. The reason I don't buy all the conspiracies, and this is talking with police officers, detectives, people are there, is let's say it was Puffy. Let's say you think it's Puffy. He would have had to arrange for Orlando Anderson to be in the lobby, Tupac to see him in the lobby, Tupac to then be inspired then the guy next to him to say, "Hey, that's him." Then Tupac counting on Tupac, walking up to him, punching him, and then finding Tupac later on as he's driving around. I know Puffy was very powerful. I know he put together Danity Kane. But there's no way in hell. It just doesn't make sense. So to me, it is Tupac. The working title of this book was actually In Waters Too Deep, because someone said to me early on, related to that, Tupac just waded into waters too deep for himself. And I actually do agree with that. And I think that was the example. There's no other artist in America, rapper, country, anyone, who's walking up to Orlando Anderson and punching him. And if he even tries to, someone from death row needs to grab him and say, "Do not do this. I got it." But they did.